Hello and welcome to another edition of Coffee Talk with immigration attorney Brian D. Lerner. In this particular episode, I would like to talk about the differences between deportability and inadmissibility. They are two very different concepts, yet some of it overlaps, some of it doesn't. And it does take quite a bit of analysis depending on the situation to determine which might be better for you or which even applies. But the gist of it is, let's just say, I'll give you a couple examples that are black and white so that you get the idea. Let's say you're in the US, you have a green card, everything's going hunky-dory and you have no problems, and then you commit a crime. Okay. After you commit the crime, serve the sentence, immigration comes, puts you into deportation proceedings. In that particular case, you would have committed something possibly that makes you deportable, meaning that while you're in the U.S. enjoying the beaches and the mountains, you committed a crime, and therefore, under the law, immigration is trying to deport you from the United States. That's deportability. Okay. Now, let's look at the other side of it. Let's say that you are outside the U.S. Somebody, let's say your spouse, whatever, is petitioning you to come in as a lawful permanent resident, and you submit all the applications, but they find that you have a particular crime that you committed, or you have a communicable disease, whatever it is, and they say, sorry, you cannot come into the United States because you are inadmissible because of this reason or that reason. So you see the differences are, if you're, for example, outside the United States, you cannot be deportable because you're already outside the United States. And similarly, in many situations, if you are inside the United States, you cannot be inadmissible as you are already here. Now, that greatly oversimplifies it, because the reality is, and this is where it gets a little hairy, if you're applying for adjustment of status and you're inside the United States, then you are applying for admission, and if it's denied, it would probably be denied because of inadmissibility grounds, not deportability grounds. Okay, even though you're in the U.S. So there are different applications you can make while inside the United States that technically and legally want, you're requesting to be admitted to the United States. By the same token, if you're outside the United States, you might still be deportable because of what you had committed earlier and the nature of your case. So it does get a little hairy depending on the situation and depending when it occurred, but just so you get a general idea of what it is. Now, the question would be, what grounds make you essentially deportable from the United States? Okay, keeping in mind that sometimes grounds of deportability are not the same as grounds of inadmissibility. Okay, you need to keep that in mind, because sometimes when I'm representing a client, they might not have any hope at all of beating a particular case on deportability grounds, but on inadmissibility grounds they might have a great chance, or vice versa. Okay, and that might gear what application I would put more effort in to try to win. Okay, so as far as deportability grounds, they are different types of grounds that you need to look at. For example, failure to register and falsification of documents. One has violated their immigration status. They were inadmissible at the time of entering the U.S. That's a ground of deportability. And public charge grounds, meaning they don't make sufficient money or don't have a sufficient sponsor to show that they will basically not become an economic burden on society, and unlawful voting. Now, each of those particular items, and also criminal grounds, there's many subcategories, and I'm just giving you the basic overview. For example, general crimes, crimes of moral turpitude, multiple criminal convictions, aggravated felonies, high-speed flight from an immigration checkpoint, failure to register as a sex offender, crimes involving moral turpitude, crimes related to firearms. There's miscellaneous crimes, crimes of domestic violence, stalking, violation of protective order, crimes against children, trafficking in persons, goes on. So there's lots of different grounds of deportability, and I just gave you some subgrounds of the criminal part of it, and it does get quite complex as far as the whole scenario, but I'm just giving you an idea so you understand that in doing the particular situation here where, for example, you've committed a crime, for example, you want to make sure that you consult the immigration attorney to determine the best way to proceed forward and what risks there are. Okay. By the same token, if you're going to apply for adjustment of status or naturalization, I get people all the time that say, well, all I'm doing is applying for naturalization. Can you tell me how to, fill out questions 41 and 42 type thing, when they have no idea that by what they're doing and their background, they might not only get the naturalization denied, they might end up getting put into removal proceedings. It might be determined that the derivative green card application, perhaps to their spouses, is revocable as well based upon their situation. There's all kinds of stuff that could happen. So as long as you have in the back of your mind a general idea of what the difference is between inadmissibility and deportability and all of the various factors that might come into play here, it's something you need to make aware that an experienced immigration attorney might be able to see issues that will come out and try to correct them before it becomes an issue and before your life gets turned upside down. Okay, so if you like the video, click like, subscribe, and you can go ahead and call or email me. I'll be happy to give you a free initial consultation, and then we'll go from there. More videos coming.